You know, in every single building, there's this invisible set of rules that keeps us safe from all that power humming inside our walls. Today, we're going to zero in on one of the most critical, but maybe least understood of these rules. It's all about a single wire that, honestly, acts as a lifeline. Let's dig into why.
So let me ask you something. What do you think is the single most important wire in your entire house? Is it the big one bringing in all the power, the one that goes to your fridge? Well, the answer might actually surprise you, because the most important wire isn't about bringing power to something, it's about giving it a safe way to get out.
The absolute best way to picture this wire is to think of it like a safety drain. You know, when everything's working just fine, you don't even think about it. But if something goes wrong, like a short circuit or a power surge, you desperately need that drain to channel all that danger away safely.
So, this safety drain we're talking about, it has an official name, and it's really the star of our show today. In the electrical world, we call it the grounded conductor. Here's the bottom line. Its whole job, its entire purpose, is to be an easy-to-follow, super low-resistance road for electricity to get right back where it came from, usually the utilities transformer. This is what stops that energy from building up where it shouldn't, like on the metal casing of your microwave, and turning it into a serious shock hazard.
The thing is, this wire is so fundamental to safety that it's basically written into what I like to call a golden rule in the National Electrical Code. So let's take a look at the actual wording of Article 200.3.
Okay, wow, that's a mouthful, right? It's dense, it's technical, it kind of sounds like it was written by a committee of lawyers. But buried in all that jargon is a really simple and incredibly powerful safety concept. Let's break down what it actually means for the wires in your house.
At its core, what the rule is demanding is actually pretty simple. The grounded system inside your home, that's step one, has to have a single, direct, and completely unbroken connection, that's our step two, that runs all the way back to the utility company's own grounded system, which is step three. No detours, no side roads, just one solid, continuous lifeline. Now, the electrical code is all about precision, so when it uses a phrase like electrically connected, it is not leaving anything up to interpretation. It means something very, very specific. And this is really the key to the whole thing. Does it just mean the wires are kind of close to each other? Not at all. The code itself tells us exactly what it means.
And there you have it. It's not some abstract idea. It is a physical, solid connection. It has to be beefy enough to handle the entire force of a fault current if something goes wrong. Think of it as a superhighway for stray electricity, not some little bumpy side road.
What I find really interesting here is how the code also explains what doesn't count as a connection. It specifically calls out induced currents, you know, those little stray currents that can pop up just from wires being near each other. The code is basically saying, nope, that doesn't count. We need a real physical bond, not some flimsy accidental link.
So you'd think a rule of this fundamental would be absolute, right? Set in stone forever. But even the golden rules have to adapt to new technology. Let's check out how this one has had to evolve with the rise of modern power sources. We're talking about things like the solar panels on your roof, or maybe even fuel cells. These are systems where your home isn't just using power anymore, it's also producing it. And that changes the whole electrical game, so the code had to change right along with it.
So here's the exception. For these specific systems, the code says, okay, you can connect these to your home's wiring without bringing your own separate grounded conductor to the party. Which at first sounds like it flies in the face of everything we've just been talking about, doesn't it? But here's the all-important condition. This exception is only allowed if the system you're connecting to, your house's existing wiring, already has a proper, continuous, grounded conductor going back to the utility. So the safety principle isn't being ignored, it's just being applied in a smarter way.
And really, that brings us right back to the ultimate goal. The rule, and even the exception to the rule, are both working toward the exact same thing, making sure there's one unified, safe electrical system.
It all comes down to this number, 1. It doesn't matter if the power is coming from the grid 100 miles away or from the solar panels on your roof. It all has to be part of a single, common, continuous, grounded system. That's what ensures that our safety drain works for everything, everywhere in the home.
So, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Electricity is always relentlessly trying to get back home to its source. The entire purpose of this code, Article 200.3, is to make sure we give it one and only one safe and obvious path to get there. That single wire really is a lifeline. And that kind of leaves us with a fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As our homes become these little complex power plants, with batteries, electric cars, the whole shebang, that simple idea of a single connection to the grid starts to get more complicated. How are these foundational safety rules going to have to adapt next to keep us safe in the homes of tomorrow?